Hey, it's Kyle here, and I'm continuing my quest to reread the new Jedi Order series. It's been well over 20 years since I read this series. I'm still early in the process. Today I'll be talking about book 2 in the series, Tide I Onslaught by Michael Stockpile. These books, I think, is probably the best known series in the old expanded universe, now known as Legends. And like I said, it's been well over 20 years, and I'm enjoying the process of revisiting these books for the first time in such a long time. One thing reading this series again so far has really hammered home to me is how great of a job these books did at making characters introduced in the books feel just as important as the characters were introduced in the movies. Especially I think when Disney first took over Star Wars, a lot of the early books they did, if there were movie characters in them like Luke, Leia, Han, Chewie, Lando, etc., they always felt way more important than the characters who were introduced, who were just book characters. And those book characters almost felt like secondary characters or NPCs, and like they didn't really have much of a story arc, or it was always a minor story arc. And really, if they had character development or a story arc, it was really for the sole purpose of connecting with the story arc or character development of the movie characters. And I don't think really for the new books that Disney oversees, it wasn't until really they did the High Republic series, for the first time, they accomplished the same thing that a series like the new Jedi Order did, which was introduce book characters that felt just as important and were the central focus of the storyline instead of movie characters. But rereading these books, it really hammers home how great of a job the new Jedi Order series and basically the Expanded Universe books did in making these book characters like Corran Horn, for example, feel just as important as Luke Skywalker and Leia and Han and Lando and Chewie, etc., etc. And I think really this book, like Luke obviously has a huge role in this book. Leia has a huge role in this book. But in a lot of ways, I think this book really revolves around Corran Horn, Han and Leia's kids, Jason and Jenna and Anakin. They're really the driving force of the plot in this book. Luke's heavily involved, but in reality, I think it's almost like these characters finding their way in the Force and Luke kind of guiding them, which is almost like the central theme of this book. Corran Horn, I always enjoyed his character a lot. I'm enjoying getting back to reread him. I really like the type of character he is, where the idea is, he's kind of like Luke's second in command at this point, but it's not because he's powerful in the Force. Actually, compared to other Jedi, he doesn't really have as many Force powers, and the ones he does, it's not quite as strong compared to the younger Jedi or compared to Luke. But instead, Luke values his wisdom, his leadership abilities, his ability to teach. But even Corran kind of questions his role within the Jedi because he sees all these other Jedi that do have more powers than him. But like Luke kind of puts him in a position to kind of like, hey, this is why you're the right person to teach these young Jedi and help these Jedi find their role in the Force. And how they do this in the book, I think, is really well done. And I think, again, his own story arc, his own character development, his path within this story is not just for the purpose of moving Luke's storyline along. It's Corran Horn's own storyline, and I think that's something they did really well in these books. The storyline involved Jason, Jenna, and Anakin. I think specifically Jason and Anakin in this specific book are really, really well known. Both Jason and Anakin are portrayed as like being super confident in their role of the Force and how they view the Force, and basically viewing each other brother having a complete wrong view of the Force, even though they're very young teenagers. Jason basically thinks he knows better than everybody, even than his uncle Luke. But then when he goes on a mission with Luke and he has a vision that seems to confirm to him like what he wants to do to rescue slaves that are being held by the Yuuzhan Vong, but his uncle Luke cautions patience, and they need to figure out more what's going on, and they can't risk exposing themselves because they'll put the larger mission at risk. Jason decides to follow his vision anyway, or what he thinks is a vision, and it quickly goes badly wrong, and Jason actually makes the issue worse, and his own life is in danger until his uncle Luke comes and rescues him. And then the rest of this book, you really have Jason grappling with like, did everything I think I knew about the Force is completely wrong? Why did this vision lead me astray? Was it a vision? Maybe I don't know as much as I actually thought I did. On the reverse side, you have Anakin, who is this very confident young Jedi who has these amazing fighting skills. But the events of the first book in this series have really shaken Anakin. Chewie has died, and Anakin really blames himself, and he's still dealing with this confidence issue that like things are his fault, and he doesn't want to do anything else again that might hurt somebody. And I think Luke completely understands this. But he also knows how powerful Anakin could be, and basically assigns him the role of going on a mission with his Mara Jade, Luke's wife, Anakin's aunt. And Mara Jade is doing this mysterious illness, so she really needs somebody to help protect her as she's basically going on a retreat to kind of try to recover. And Anakin's kind of placed in this position where this person he respects a lot, who he knows is really powerful in the Force, but he doesn't trust himself to actually protect him. And this book does an amazing job of having Anakin grow up and actually finding himself in the Force and actually quickly establish himself, actually surprise himself that, like, oh, he might be the most powerful Jedi of everybody in the Star Wars galaxy at this moment. And you can even, by the end of the book, Luke is kind of like, I didn't know you could be this powerful. And it was amazing. You did everything correctly. Amazing job. So you have Anakin kind of finding his path and role within the Jedi, and Jason's path really being shaken and kind of untethered to what he thought his path was going to be. This entire storyline obviously revolves from the Yuuzhan Vong invasion still continuing that started in book 1. A lot of New Republic governments denying they're a threat. They think they've been wiped out. And it's basically up to our heroes to prove, no, the Yuuzhan Vong invasion is still a threat. And I think one thing they did really great in this book is you have our characters winning these little mini battles, but at the same time the book is making clear, hey, our heroes are winning these little mini battles, but at the same time they're already losing the war, and they're aware that even though they score this victory here or they save these people here, they're even aware we're losing and we need to figure something out. So they quickly, when the first 2 books, like they've done a great job of establishing the Yuuzhan Vong as this tremendous threat. I think for the first time, Star Wars in the expanded universe, they really were able to move past stuff connected to the Empire and move on to a new villain, and it feel like just as big a threat, if not a bigger threat than the Empire did. And which I think is something Star Wars Disney is still actually struggling with. Every time they've tried to do that, they've had a little bit of issue, except with the High Republic series. Like they did an excellent job with that within the books. But at the same time, they haven't been able to translate that yet to either TV shows or movies yet. So it'll be interesting if they're able to accomplish that. But really enjoying my process of reading the new Jedi Order series. Looking forward to Kingdom Path. Like I said, this will probably be a year or 2 process because there are a lot of books in this series. But let me know if you've read Tide I Onslaught. What did you think about it? What are some of your favorite characters that have a big role in this series that are not movie characters? Let me know. If you're reading the new Jedi Order series for the first time, I'm hoping you're enjoying this journey with me. If you read it before and you're just interested in looking back at it, I hope you're enjoying this journey down memory lane. So if you haven't yet, please like the video. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, I would really appreciate if you would. Thanks for watching. I'll see you the next time, and may the Force be with you.